And I'm starting to think that we need to start every show after victory with the
I
I
mean,
mean, it's just what
I
a
don't know what to
game.
say.
What a
Every game is another example of why you need blood pressure medication for the Ravens to be a Ravens fan.
well, maybe you. Maybe you. But I was telling
You were
DK before
confident?
we went live that I almost fell asleep on the couch when there was a minute. There were 70 seconds left for Baker Mayfield under center. I said, "This game's over."
Yeah, well, he's now 2-8
And 8, right?
in these situations where he gets the ball
And will he
needing a
ever
score to
have a
win.
better roster than he has in front? I mean,
Well, right
yeah,
now that roster is a little depleted from talent as far as his weapons on the outside go, but I guess it's not that bad. It's really only Odell
I
Beckham. I
mean,
mean, Peoples-Jones was out there, Landry
just
was
his
out
3
there.
tight ends alone. I know the one guy got hurt, but like those 3 tight ends alone are ridiculous. That's
Yeah.
a anyway. I mean,
All right, let's get it. Let's get into it.
yeah.
Okay, let's get into some numbers. Let's get some talking because we got a lot to talk about in this one. First of all, the Ravens win 16-10. So shout out
Yep.
to the Ravens getting a dub Sunday Night Football. I saw Ray was there again. Ray don't miss
Yeah.
those primetime games, does he?
No.
He gets out in that owner's box on them primetime games. He makes sure he doesn't.
He
And he
don't
knows
mind the
when to
camera.
stand.
Ray's never been shy of the camera.
No, heck no, absolutely not. Do you want to get into some stats, Jimbo? Is that what?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's, like you said, 16-10. Let's get into some individual stats, and then I want to talk about team stats because I got some things to talk to you. I got a bone to pick with you and DK, but I'll wait for the team stats. All right.
Okay.
So
all right.
Lamar Jackson, not his prettiest game, 20 of 32, 165 yards, 1 touchdown, 4 interceptions. In addition to that, 17 carries. Oof. 68 yards. Obviously, we needed every single one of those yards tonight. And Mark Andrews was our leading receiver or catcher of the football with 4 receptions, 65 yards, and a touchdown. Glenn, was that the most incredible catch you've ever seen from a tight end?
Oh, it was sensational. My only thing is, why did they not? They accepted the penalty, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I saw on Twitter that they gave him the credit for the catch.
Okay, good. Because I heard the ref announced that they accepted the penalty and it was spot foul.
I could
was
be
like,
wrong.
oh.
I mean, Twitterverse is not right very often either, but I did see somebody said that on Twitter. Jerry Coleman said that on Twitter. So
yeah, I'm not so sure about that source, but no, that was a fantastic catch. I mean, it was a one-handed catch, and he damn near did it again, except the second time when he tried it
to the guy.
Yeah, it ended up
There
actually.
you go.
Yeah, it ended up being a interception. So that is
volley
not
there.
No, exactly. So let's get into Baker Mayfield. He goes 18 for 37, 247, a touchdown. He's sacked twice. What'd you think about your guy Baker? Is it what you expected?
As advertised, yeah. I mean, he's the best JV player on your team, but he can never make the step to varsity. Like, that's just Baker Mayfield to me.
Okay.
There's really nothing else to it. He's the kid that dominates JV because he's bigger, faster, stronger, and then he just can't get it done when the lights are brightest and he's out there and playing varsity football. I mean, obviously that's not the case, but you understand the comparison.
No, I understand. Yeah, I mean, when the athletes were better than him, it's all of a sudden his advantages go out the window. Yeah. I guess is what you're. So yeah, let's get into the rushing attack, and this is where I just want to spend a little bit of time because
good, me too.
This was the number 1 rushing team going into this game, and we talked about the Ravens' strength defensively. They're the number 2 rush defense in the National Football League. Kareem Hunt goes 7 for 20. Nick Chubb goes 8 carries, 16 yards. Baker Mayfield 2 for 4. So a grand total of 17 carries and just 40 yards on the ground for this team, the best rushing team in football.
Yeah, I'm pretty disappointed in myself that I went over on this one. But more than anything, I got a bone to pick with you and DK because Calais Campbell was not in this game, but somebody more important in this game was.
There's no way of knowing if he was more important.
No, it turns out that he was more important in this game is my point. Brandon Williams showed up, and I think he had a lot to do with those 40 yards in that game. And so certainly his presence was felt, had a TFL, a tackle for loss out there. Brandon Williams not only stuffing up the lanes, but getting stats. I was happy. I was happy to see Brandon Williams out there.
I don't know why you have a bone to pick with us. I don't understand
because you
what
guys
we did
are ready
wrong.
to just Brandon Williams, okay. He's all right. Jelly Ellis can be Brandon Williams. No, I don't think so.
Nobody said that. You're putting words into my mouth. I never said Jelly Ellis could be Brandon Williams. I don't know where that came from. And that certainly supports your argument, although it is completely fictitious. But
completely fictitious or a little bit of a stretch. I just did a little bit of framing there, but I don't know about completely
a little
fictitious.
bit of framing. Okay.
I don't know if it's completely fictitious. All I'm saying is that I didn't give up on 9-8.
All right, look. Shout out to
well
Brandon Williams. But this was a group effort. Brandon did his thing, yes. But how about the fact that I picked the breakout defensive player of the week for me this week was one Pat Queen.
And he balled out.
Queen, and by the way, I stole that one from you because and Katie pointed it out, and I just stole it from you. The one Pat Queen apparently is something you've been saying lately about Lamar Jackson. But Pat Queen, 8 tackles, all of them solo in solo fashion, 2 tackles for loss, big time tackles for loss where he was making splash plays.
Yeah.
He was a big part of slowing down this rush attack too.
Yeah, I mean, big time. This guy had himself a game, and especially if you have to consider the fact that, if I'm not mistaken, I didn't see Bynes out. I think he got dinged. I think Bynes got dinged up, and we saw a lot of Welch.
Really? Well, I know I saw Bynes chasing who was it on that deep crossing route that got behind Bynes and Bynes was running him down. I can't remember who it was. I think it was one of the tight ends. I don't know if we put this up earlier, but I wanted to.
No, we didn't yet.
Give Joseph. He said the Ravens will never get a top 10 draft pick with a defense this good. Thank goodness Baker wasn't there at pick 32. The
Ravens weren't touching Baker at the last pick of the draft. He's not a Raven, period.
No, he certainly doesn't seem to fit the mold, but Joseph's right. The Ravens are probably not going to be picking in the top 10 very often.
Yeah, as long as number 8's under center.
Exactly. As long as Lamar's here, if he's healthy, they're not going to be in the bottom 10 in the league. No doubt about it.
Yeah, that's why I got a ton of money in Symbol on the Baltimore Ravens, because I'm just stacking up them game earnings, right? Just made a couple cool, I don't know, $50 tonight. No big deal.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm not mad at you. Kieran Martin says Queen, Oweh, and Bowser kept us in this one, guys. They look great. I'm so glad. Can I spend a little bit of time apologizing for my early season transgressions? Because we came on here, Jimbo, and you remember I was hard. I was hard on Bowser.
Gave all his money and then he didn't register.
I beat him up. But look, in fairness, at that point, he hadn't done much of anything. But since I had that blow up, boy, has this guy proved me wrong. This guy was good early, and of course he was really good late. I mean, of course he comes in early, has an impressive couple rushes where he barely, Baker barely gets out of his grasp. He gets out. You can see Bowser's just constantly disrupting the play. Even if he's not getting there, he's causing Baker to try and pull it and run, and as hobbled as he is, he doesn't, it usually doesn't go well if he has to pull it and try and make something happen with his legs.
Yeah, even when he's 100% healthy.
Just misses no opportunities to dig it.
None at all.
Just never misses a shot. But also at the end of the game, back-to-back plays, he's guarding the tight end. It just shows the incredible versatility. If this guy, we've always said, if this guy just had some pass rush ability, he would be unbelievable, because we know how good he is against the run. And, of course, in coverage, he might be the best at his position in the entire league in coverage. And he showed it in the last 2 plays of the game.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting because today they talked to there was a reporter talking about an interview they had with Matt Judon, and he said that, of course, so he loves the Ravens. Obviously he felt some type of way that the Ravens didn't re-sign him. He goes up to New England. He said they're very different teams, very different cultures. And the interviewer asked him which culture he fits in better with. And he responded, well, I'm having a career year, so you tell me. Right. So at that same time, he's doing well this year and all those things. And then Tyus Bowser showing up like EDC, every dollar counts. I mean, you talking about return on investment. I'm pretty sure he's in Bowser's entire contract. Judon's already made that this year in salary and guaranteed money in that contract.
Oh, no
Not
doubt.
saying that one equals the other, but as far as value derived, I think you got a serious argument there. Certainly how Bowser's been playing. So you're absolutely right. The versatility is incredible. Showed out in big moments tonight. He's really progressing as a player, for sure. Ashafied Gaming. Ashafied. Big W tonight, but can someone teach Chuck how to catch? Yeah, that's a problem. Yeah, that's a problem.
My note says that Chuck Clark again displays that he has the worst hands in the history of defensive football. And that's saying something because all defensive players typically struggle catching the ball, and that's why, part of the reason why they play defense. I mean, Jimmy, could that have been an easier interception? He caught it. In fact, he caught it.
And it's like he didn't want it.
And then just went like this and let it fall.
Like, wait, I'm not supposed to have the football. I play defense.
It was like, when I was at work in younger years, I went to this team building thing, and there was a hot potato that was a shocker potato. You throw it, and if you didn't get rid of it, it would zap you. That's how it looked like when Chuck Clark caught the ball. It looked like the shocker potato. It shocked him, and he had to let go of it.
I'm not going to pull on this thread anymore, but I have so many questions about this team building activity with a shocker potato.
Look, I didn't bring the potato, okay? I participated because I'm a team player.
There you go. See, that's what it was all about. That's what they wanted to hear. Somebody, did that 10 years ago and is proud of themselves listening to you today. So, but yeah, I mean, I was shocked by that one. Wow, you could hear the fans cheer. I got up out of my couch and then, he dropped that one. That was a brutal one. But Oweh, another great defensive play. A myriad of plays tonight. He played really well. Obviously got another sack. That's one closer. What's that for him this year? 5?
5. He's halfway home.
Halfway home, and we're going into week what?
This is going into week 13, I think it is, or 12. Week 12.
12, yeah. So home stretch.
We got some Boney Maloney offensive lines coming up. 2 games still left with the Pittsburgh Steelers. We'll see how that goes. And look, he got one today. No reason to believe he can't get one next time they play Cleveland also.
Yeah, absolutely. But shout out to the entire defense for showing up tonight. Obviously, I talked about Brandon Williams and just wanted to kind of bust your guys' chops, but holding them to 40 yards, like you said, Glenn, is an absolute team effort. Really proud of those guys in the way that they played. They gave up a lot of chunk plays, which is kind of to be expected with Wink's defense, but nothing that broke their back tonight. And I mean, even the touchdown, if we can talk about that for a second, was absolutely not a touchdown. I've never seen a clearer.
What is happening?
I don't understand it. I don't understand it.
What has happened? Jimmy, earlier in the year, they called Mark Andrews a catch, an incomplete pass, despite no video evidence of the ball hitting the ground.
Yeah, none, zero.
None. You could not see it. They go, well, we think it did. This time, there's clear video evidence that ball bounces. Not only do you see it touch the grass, but you see the reaction from the ball as it bounces up into his gut. It wouldn't have bounced like that if it just hit his thigh.
He looked like a first baseman out there, just trapping it. Like, this is not baseball.
I don't understand how that was not called an incomplete pass. You can call it sour. I looked at that as objectively as I could. The ball hit the damn ground. I don't understand it.
That's simple.
And that was a huge play. I mean, they were not moving the ball well. They couldn't run the ball. Who knows if they would have gotten anything if they wouldn't have gotten that ball.
If the ground wasn't under him in some hypothetical world where he's floating in the air, right? That ball goes right through the basket.
No doubt.
He doesn't catch it. Period. The ball bounces it into his basket. that was ridiculous. And then they kept saying there's no clear and non-disputable evidence.
Like, what am I looking at? Because I'm looking at
that. My eyes fooling me? Like, this is so insane. I was losing my mind. My gosh. Look, the refs wanted to do everything they could to give Baker Mayfield an opportunity tonight. Obviously, the Ravens gave him an opportunity tonight. I think and I know we'll get into other stuff, but I think to sum this game up tonight, Glenn, Lamar Jackson did not have a good game. Period. He didn't have a good game.
That's an understatement.
But let me just say this. Lamar Jackson and Baker Mayfield are not the same. They do not belong in the same sentence. They don't belong in the same paragraph in most scenarios, based outside of the fact that you can connect them, do the Heisman and do the draft and this, that, and the other. But let me say this. We had a quarterback tonight that made a few plays that no one else, very few other quarterbacks can make. I'm not going to say no one else. And that was what the difference was to me at the end of the day. Like, that play to Mark Andrews in the end zone.
Crazy.
That was everything. Baker Mayfield tries to, he throws an interception or he fumbles it like we saw. And not just Baker, a lot of guys. Very few people can make that play. And that was the difference to me tonight, really, at the end of the day. Now, Lamar put us in that situation. But I think it's also fair to say that he was the reason that he was the difference in the game tonight, outside of JT.
Yeah, you gotta love JT doing his thing as usual. But Yeah, I mean, you're 100% right. Lamar played like absolute garbage in that first
Yeah.
half. The fact that the Ravens were able to lead 6-3 at halftime with the way he played, throwing that many poor, I mean, I'm sure it blew his mind. He had some rust and it showed. And the fact that, but I think the bigger, point of it is you're right. He did end up making, I mean, another highlight reel play. This one's going to go down and something we'll see for the rest of his career
Yeah,
because of
when he's
not
in the
just
Ring
what
of
he did.
Honor and things like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're going to see that again because it's not just what he did, it's who he was doing this to. This was 2 number 1 overall picks, not first rounders. No, the best players in their draft were both chasing him. He makes them look silly. And I love the frustration from Jadeveon Clowney as he slams his helmet on the ground as Garrett and Lamar kind of dap each other up. It was just another sensational play, but he was so bad in the first half, so
Yeah.
bad. And the fact that they were able to win this game despite Lamar throwing 4 interceptions,
Yep.
2 of which came on literally back-to-back throws by him. It's just a credit to this team. How do they do this, Jimmy? They should not have won this game with that many turnovers.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many indicators. Like if you had to just look at the stats that the Ravens lost this game. But really, I put it on a few things. Obviously, the defense, it was an absolute group effort, and it was great to see.
Mm-hmm.
But, Lamar just making a few plays that are a difference in this game. John coaching his butt off, the coaching staff finding a way to get this done. And Justin Tucker, I mean, look, their kicker missed a kick. That changes the whole game, right? He misses that first kick. That also changes the game. So having Justin Tucker and just being able to relax while he kicks, and when they put him in tough, none of those kicks were easy, man.
Mm-mm.
None of those were chip shots. So shout out to Justin Tucker as well. But Michael, we didn't forget about you. Don't worry, Mike. Highlight of the game, the defense looks back. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And like I said before, that's without a Calais Campbell. My concern always, every game with this defense, Glenn, is they start hot, but I think sometimes because of their age, they don't stay hot. I think we have the 3rd oldest defense in the NFL. And a lot of those big guys are up front and they're not, they're on the wrong end of 30. And so that's always my concern. I remember thinking this game, all right, we've started the right way. Can we sustain it? But you see guys like Odafe Owe, obviously much younger. You see guys like Tyus Bowser coming on and some of these other guys as well that give you hope to know, okay, we can sustain this because we're not depending on only Houston, Campbell, and Wolf, theoretically speaking, if he were out there, and a Brandon Williams, right? We have some young guys that are in there and able to come through clutch late in the game and keep the pace and the intensity the same as it is in the first quarter. So I think that's huge.
Yeah, no doubt. And also, you can't forget to mention the role the offense plays in that. I mean, if the offense in the first half isn't converting on 3rd downs and isn't extending drives and is having quick 3 and out type drives, then the defense is going to be exhausted by the second half, no matter their age. But you're right; they are an older defense, so that makes that a more important task to make sure you do have a draft that sustains. And they did a great job. I mean, they won the possession battle 37 minutes to 22. That's going to win you a lot of games. That's going to keep your defense fresh, and that's going to keep their defense breathing heavy and having their hands on their hips and wondering, what are we going to do to slow these guys down? They leaned on them in the second half. That offensive line was able to kind of finally get a push going. We saw some rushing success in the second half, certainly in the fourth quarter. But man, you're 100% right. The defense is able to kind of pace themselves and not get overexerted and overextended in the first half and the third quarter. Then the fourth quarter, they're just a different defense, and they shut them out. They did what they had to do. So this defense, the last 2 games, Jimmy, I know it's the Bears and I know it's the Browns who are beat up at quarterback. But are you starting to think that, man, maybe this defense is championship caliber?
Dang it. I want to, right? Like, I think it's there. I'm still in wait and see mode. I don't know if I'm ready to say that, but I'm leaning that way. I can't say otherwise. And I'm obviously hopeful that that's the case, but I'm still in wait and see mode. Are you there? You feel like
I kind of agree with you. I mean, I got to see them play a more proficient offense. Both these offenses, the Browns and the Bears are struggling in I mean, they're struggling in a big way. The Browns now have lost 3. They've lost 2 of the last 3, but the one they won, they had 13 points against a Lions team that had a backup quarterback in there. Yeah. So this isn't necessarily the top echelon offenses the Ravens are playing. But with that being said, this is what a good defense should do to an offense that's struggling. They should hold them to 10 points.
And that offense is a completely different offense. You kind of talked about this. We were on the phone the other day. That offense is completely different when the run game is doing its thing. Mm-hmm. Their entire passing attack is completely different. So job number 1 was stop Chubb and Kareem, and they got it done. But that's not an easy task. Like that's not. It's funny because to make it comparable, people like talk about Lamar Jackson's stats and then they'll like kind of minimize his rushing stats, like it's no big deal. Where like same thing here, where in this game in particular, to do that defensively is such a feat, and then it has such a domino effect on that entire offense because the lifeblood of that offense is that rushing attack. Period. Mm-hmm. Especially with, I mean, Odell is out or is not there anymore, and I'm not saying that that's a game changer, but just to take the top off the defense, having a speedster and not having it, it becomes even more. You become even more dependent on that type of attack. So certainly a huge feat for this defense and a momentum building game for them as a defense going into this next week. But
shout out to Laura Roten, by the way.
Yeah, I just
appreciate you, Laura. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate the support. Jared says, people, don't kill Superman the one time he doesn't save the lady from the burning building. Someone tell me why Bateman isn't on the field to finish.
I'm not sure about the Bateman issue. I don't think anyone's killing him, and maybe there's something in the comments I don't know about. But
no, I mean, he threw 4 interceptions.
Criticism where it's due. He's not above criticism, and those were some of the poorest passes that I've seen from him since he's been a Raven. So I don't think he's above criticism. And I'm hopeful that he'll be better next week because he's going to need to be better this next week because the Steelers are now desperate for a win after getting embarrassed by the Bengals. So he's got to be better if the Ravens are going to hope to get a win. I think that, this one's in Heinz Field, so they got to play better.
Yeah, let me say this. Another reason why I love giving Baker Mayfield a hard time. Dude always shows out against the Bengals. He always does us a favor and just decides to show out against the Bengals. And love him for that. Thanks, Baker. But I was losing my mind tonight, Glenn, on all the it was reminiscent of the glory days of Ben Roethlisberger and going from having a cast to like getting it sawed off at halftime and then coming back out and playing and man, I don't want to hear it anymore. You're on the field, play or don't play.
That's it. Yep.
Like
100%.
Shut up and play or sit on the sideline and let the other guy play.
If you're good enough to play, I don't want to hear complaining.
Yeah,
that's all it is. If you're healthy enough.
And I know it's the guys on the TV's job it's the announcer's job to like talk about the narrative and this, that, and the other. But like, man, can we talk about something else, please?
Yeah, I'm tired of hearing about. Exactly. I agree with you. Now, as far as Baltimore rushing, Freeman goes 16 for 52 on the ground, and Latavius Murray, pitches in 8 for 14. Duvernay did have a big jet sweep for 13 yards and a first down. That was certainly a big momentum play. And then Tyson Williams, 1 carry, 1 yard. Man, I mean, it was tough sledding on the ground. What I like is the commitment to the run game. I certainly like that, but I'm not the biggest fan. And look, it needed to be done this game, but I still like to see where the running back is your leading ball carrier as far as number of carries. But Lamar did, again, what he had to do and what needed to be done to get the win. He leads the way. But what do you think about the run game going up against this the Browns defense?
Yeah, I couldn't disagree with you more. The commitment to it was rewarded in that drive where Tucker got the last field goal of the game, because while they didn't get into the end zone, they were able to pop off some big yards there. And if it wasn't for that holding penalty, that Powers got,
it would have been over. They would have never got the ball back.
They would have never got the ball back. So based on their commitment to the run and their patience there, that's where we started to see those play that commitment, the start to really, show itself and pay off for the Ravens. So I agree with you. I really like the commitment to it. And look, I think Freeman's got some stuff, man. I'm hoping he can continue to show out and do his thing. I'm really enjoying watching him play football these days.
Yeah, 100%. I think Freeman has been a very, very pleasant surprise.
Blessing.
Yes, no doubt about it, because he has clearly got the most juice left. And Tone the Virgo says, just when Clowney and Garrett thought they had Lamar, he makes another highlight reel of the highlight reel of the week touchdown pass to Andrews. 100%. This is something that'll go down that we will see forever. That play was just, and the way he just makes it look effortless when you got two of the best athletes in all of football bearing down on you, trying to rip your head off. And he just makes it look so easy. But I will say this. I made a note early in the game. They tried to block Myles Garrett with three guys, and he got through all three of them and tackled Lamar Jackson. Jeez.
It's just insane. He's so good. He's such a freak athlete. I mean, just an incredible player.
And how about when he ran down Lamar, when Lamar broke free on the right side, and Myles Garrett was high doing – he was running so hard. You know when someone runs so hard, their fists go above their head when they're –
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Got to throw him out there, man. That's lead your whole body, dude.
Yeah, dude, he was getting it and forced him out of bounds before the first down.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Laura Roten says Lamar played poorly, but he has been sick. Wondering if he still might be weak. What do you think? I don't think that was an impact in this game. I think if anything was an impact in this game, I don't know if it was just like, the physical side effects of it, but it could have been the speed of the game, being that he's been out of he's been out of practice, in and out of sync. He's not in a rhythm as much. And so just looked a little bit of not in all plays, but certainly in a lot of those interceptions, looked a step behind.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's normal. While of course I didn't want it to manifest itself in 4 interceptions. Mm-mm. But I don't think it was the physical, just him being sick.
Yeah, no, I agree that there could have been some residual effects, but to me, when you carry the ball 17 times, he didn't look slow. He didn't look. Right. It looked like a guy who was rusty from lack of practice time and lack of game day. Missing that Bears game. So he might be feeling something, but luckily it wasn't glaring out there other than the rust. Ugh.
Yeah.
That rust was tough to deal with. But as far as through the air, I want to talk a little bit. Jarvis Landry. I mean, they're throwing him the ball now, Jimbo. He has 6 catches, 111 yards on 10 targets. Harrison Bryant goes 3 for 50 before exiting with the injury. David Njoku, 3 for 35, and that ridiculous touchdown that hit the ground. Nick Chubb had back-to-back catches for 23 yards, and that's all he was able to get. And Donovan Peoples-Jones, their only real deep threat on the team. It goes 2 for 10 on 5 targets. They really eliminated him. Jimmy, the problem with the Browns, they have no speed. They have nobody that scares you except for maybe Njoku if you can get him matched up on the right mismatch.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I agree with you 100%. And that's their struggle, but no excuses for me at the end of the day. Like, I mean, we're not trying to make
roster construction.
Yeah, I get. I'm not giving. So no excuses, because look, the Ravens. Let me ask you this question, Glenn. Mm-hmm. What positions outside of quarterback and kicker are the Ravens considered good, great, or elite? At? Name one position group.
Well, I mean, before the injuries, corner would have been the one.
No, I'm saying as it is today.
But right now, yeah, I mean, tight end.
I mean, you got
because
one
Mark
guy,
Andrews,
right?
Yeah.
You got one guy, but I'm just saying, man, the Browns.
They have no complaints.
Browns fans, you're going to talk to me about your roster and lack of talent. Don't go there, because you guys have had more picks and more number 1 picks and more money and all this stuff to get it right. Get it right.
Wow. Yeah. No, 100% right. I don't want to hear anybody complain about injuries. Never.
Yeah. Now, I have a question for you and for DK, and I don't want either of you looking it up. If you've already looked it up, raise your hand and tell me.
I'll tell them myself.
Okay, because I think this is an interesting stat. A bit obscure. Who was the Ravens' 4th leading tackler in this game?
In this game, 4th leading tackler.
Yep.
If you're saying it's interesting, so the fact that it's interesting leads me to think I'm gonna go Josh Bynes.
No.
Who?
DK, you got a guess? All right, Stevens. No. Mark Andrews.
What? Because he had a couple on the interceptions.
Mark Andrews had 3 solo tackles, 4 total tackles today.
Shout out to Mark Andrews. I would have never gotten that. You could have given us 5 guesses each. That would have been really hilarious to watch us pick everyone but the right guy.
I know, man. So
Yeah, shout out.
Yeah, just like you said, it was Queen, then Humphrey, then Stevens. So, but yeah, I just thought that was really obscure stat. That was cracking me up, man. Jeez, a whiz.
Yeah, that's crazy. Now, let me ask you something here, because did Odafe Owe, did he get credited for that sack on the strip of
so.
Jarvis?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I believe so.
And I was hopeful he was, because he was lined up in the quarterback position. I was thinking, if they count this as a tackle for loss and not a sack because he's technically not a quarterback, but I guess that's the one. Okay, just making sure, because I can't have you getting out of eating that microphone
on a technicality,
on some BS technicality. Ashified Gaming says, as long as we got 8, 9, and 89, we gonna be all right. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue with that. I mean, those 3 are definitely, and I can think you can throw 5 in there too. I think 5's done enough this year. Hollywood has done enough this year. He had 8 catches for 51 yards on 10 targets. I think he's a guy. Although I tell you what, that early catch, I would have liked him to fall backwards instead of running backwards for a loss of 2. And, come up short of the sticks. But yeah, I mean, it's hard.
I do like him attacking the football, but in that instance, you gotta get there, man. But I agree. I agree with you 100%. However, I hope that's enough to get us where we want to go, right? Like, I'm an optimistic Ravens fan, and it'll be interesting to see. But Edwin Navedo says, listen, people, if we can't win games when Lamar is not at his best, then we won't win any games. It takes a complete team to achieve the ultimate goal. Look, Edwin, I completely agree with you 100%. Today was an absolute John Harbaugh win, in that it took every unit to get the job done. It was a complete win. I mean, we can't put the whole weight of this Ravens team on Lamar Jackson's back. Our defense needs to show up. Our run game needs to show up. Our special teams needs to show up, because nobody is doing more for their team than Lamar Jackson these days. And even though he's had, a drop off and had sickness and stuff like that, I think that's a statement that I would get very little pushback on. So you need to help him out. He's not a one-man band as much as he can be. If we want to reach our ultimate goal, get into SoFi Stadium and play in the Super Bowl, it can't be that way.
Yeah.
So I agree with you.
Credit to the team. I mean, credit to this team and the guys around Lamar Jackson, the coaching staff, everyone involved with this team, because we talked about on these airwaves so many times after a Ravens win that Lamar Jackson has to be the hero. He has to be the guy who plays well, or the Ravens don't win. Well, there's been a couple games now where the Ravens have shown that they can win without Lamar being at his best, and this was certainly one of them. You beat a division rival, a team that arguably has the most talented roster in all of football, and you beat them on a day where your quarterback throws 4 interceptions and you lose the turnover battle by 2, and you beat. I mean, that's an impressive win by this team, and the whole team deserves a pat on the back. Z the Beast says, worse 8-3 team, just like our 14-2 team. Money on IR will catch up. I don't expect the defense to play this good. It's the Browns and the Bears. So not so optimistic about the 8-3 record. Look, I'll say this, Z the Beast. I certainly understand you're kind of being a little pessimistic when you look at how the Ravens have won, but just look around the league. It's hard to find a team out there outside of maybe the Patriots right now who don't.
And the Packers?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, the Packers, but I think you can find some weaknesses in the Packers as well. Right now, it's anyone's league. It's anyone's Super Bowl to win. I think any team can get up there. You could probably make an argument for 10 to 12 teams right now that could make a run at the Super Bowl. Yeah, this is the most unique year I've seen in a while.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing I'll say, maybe I'm nitpicking here, Z, but I think that the 14-2 team was not a facade while we, were a regular season team. Yeah, we were not a playoff team. Obviously, we went out early in the playoffs. That was not a false. That was not a straw man, right? I think is what it's called, DK.
Yeah.
But I would compare, if you're trying to make that comparison, maybe the 11-0 Steelers last year would be a better comparison because they were hot garbage. And that showed itself and reared its ugly head, obviously, in the playoffs. But I don't think the Ravens are that. In fact, I think the Ravens this year are better at something that's pivotal that they weren't good at 14-2, that 14-2 year, and that's winning ugly, winning close games, winning in high pressurized situations. That's what the NFL is at the end of the day.
No doubt. Who's shows up when the lights are brightest? And Joshua Hunter says, I would bet money Lamar never has 4 interceptions in another single game this season. He'll shake off that rust as they continue through this tough stretch. I don't think he'll have another one his whole career.
Yes, I agree. And I got to make a declaration here, Glenn.
Okay.
Lamar Jackson's going to go on a run, and he will win the MVP this year. I feel convinced that he will win the MVP.
Really?
I agree with Josh 100%. He's going to. Wow. This is the start of where he, like you said, he knocks the rust off, gets back in his routine week to week basis. And every week he starts churning them out. December football is where your money is made. I think Lamar Jackson closed out the season strong, and I think he gets himself another piece of hardware.
That would be, I'll tell you what, that's another thing. This is another year where you could make an argument for a bunch of guys for that as well. And right now, I don't know who the odds-on favorite is. I mean, I think Jonathan Taylor was after last week, but then he took a bit of a step back this week. And heck, I mean, Leonard Fournette put up 4 touchdowns. Maybe he'll be the talk of the town tomorrow morning. But yeah, I mean,
that's what I'm saying. If anybody can make a run, like I understand that tonight was not a good. If anybody can make a run,
but he's got some stinkers though. The Miami game, this game, the fact that the Ravens won without him one game. I think he's got some knocks on his resume, but most, if not everyone, does. So I think
exactly
he definitely has an opportunity. He has no worse opportunity than pretty much anyone else out there. All right, Dave Cutsale says, we have major flaws, but we are playing as a team. Offense, defense, special teams, as good as anyone. Watch other games, and everyone is flawed. 100%. And I kind of want to bolster Dave's point in saying that everyone would feel the same way if you were the fans of a different team. It's just because, and I say this all the time, you watch every play, you live and die on every moment of the Ravens season, and you don't care as much when you watch other teams, so you don't notice the horrible mistakes that every team does around the league. And a lot of times you only see other teams when you're watching the highlights, and everyone looks great in highlights. So every team, Dave's 100% right, is flawed. And is there any team you could argue has more heart and more resilience than the Ravens? And I think that matters. People may act like it doesn't. But, anybody who's been in even a low-level, high-pressure situation, even at like a rec level, there's guys on your team that you can count on more than other guys on your team when the moment's at its biggest. And I think the Ravens have a bunch of guys on their team that are resilient and that are ready to step up and make plays in the big moments.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And that's something I think that they're better at now than they were in the 14-2 season. I think end of story. But Dave, I agree with you 1,000%. I mean, this is how winning is done. This is how football. It's a complete game. It's the best team. It's the best team sport on the face of the planet. It's just really that simple. The only one I would compare it to is rowing. Look into it, but that's for another day. LOL. I think I've paid you guys $25 to give you one observation. There's
PJ Fleck.
No, I'm just saying rowing, there's no
row the boat.
You can't tell who's the
weak link.
Yeah, and you can't tell who's the major contributor. It's just about winning as your boat, and that's it.
Okay.
That's all it is.
Right.
Anyway, I think I've paid you guys $25 to give you one observation. I would love to come on your show one day and give you a woman's perspective. Let me know.
Wow. Okay. Well, I mean, look, we've had quite a few women on the show. I mean, the one that jumps to mind the most is Sarah Ellison. But we've had quite a few women join us as guests from The Wire. We've had a couple women who write for The Wire, but no. So we certainly respect and accept a woman's perspective, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, at the end of the day, this is an option in our Patreon account.
If you look at the Patreon, there is an option there.
There's an option to come on the show.
But we certainly appreciate your support, Laura, and yeah, absolutely. I think you brought you definitely brought something to this show, no doubt about it.
Absolutely.
And Cam Wee says that 8-3, we aren't hot yet. We are still building. Yeah, I mean it's 1% every day, as John says, but I mean every team is still building. Every team is still trying to chase perfection, like John always says. And I think any team can win this one. I mean, this is the goofiest, silliest year I've seen,
Yeah.
and the only team right now that looks like they might be separating themselves right now is New England, but they still have 2 games left with Buffalo. And so I think those
And they
two are
still have a
really.
rookie quarterback at the end of the day. Like, as
Yep.
sharp as he's looked, I
Yeah.
still think that if he played the Ravens defense, he might make some pivotal mistakes based on the fact that Wink tends to do that to young quarterbacks, right?
No doubt.
And not just against the Ravens, just in general. Like, you don't know when a rookie could slide. So, yeah, 100%. Should we get to our competition? Is it about that time?
I think it's better. I mean, I think now is better time than any.
Is that right?
Well, I've been reviewing the results, and I have mixed feelings about the results, and we can get into them. But let's just say this: I don't feel. Well, let's get into the results before I go into.
As long as we don't have a petition for a revote.
No revote.
Okay.
No revote, but okay, all right, let's get into it. So every week we have a competition that starts with a series of over-unders and ends with a couple tiebreakers in the form of closest to the pin type questions. You guys, of course, can all participate in these competitions, and if you win every week, we announce the winner and we send them a shirt in the mail. So this week we had our series of over-unders started with third down efficiency as the first over-under. We set the over-under at 35.5% for the Ravens third down conversion rate. Jimmy and me both said under. DK says over, and the result was over as the Ravens go 7 for 15, 46.7% conversion rate. And Jimmy, I think it was the story of the game. It's like I said, is my key to the game was third downs. Man, they didn't look good offensively to start, but they made the big third downs when they needed to. And honestly, I think those drive extending first downs changed the whole game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's through hook or crook. That's how they got it done today. That's what it felt like, right? Especially on third down. So for sure, with you there. What's the next one, DK? So the red zone efficiency, of course, was another one. And man, look at that. 50.5, 50%. So under, and I went over. Let's see, Glenn.
We were all wrong.
Yeah, we were all wrong on this one. Yeah.
By 0.5%. So it wasn't that bad, but, bad nonetheless. And I want
wrong is wrong.
I got to take a quick break from our over-unders because Joshua Hunter has another comment here. He says the Ravens will have plenty of opportunities to prove they are playoff worthy. If people haven't counted out the Bills or Chiefs, they damn sure can't count out the Ravens. 100% agree. Now, my only question, I believe this is the same Joshua Hunter, and if I'm wrong, please correct me. Joshua Hunter, that I know, is pretty critical of the Ravens coaching staff, specifically John Harbaugh. And so I got to know your thoughts now. I mean, you come off of 2 games, so beat up, so, back against the wall, and they come out with the dub. Are we going to give a little bit of credit to the coaching staff? I mean, of course, the team gets a ton of the credit. Mm-hmm. But no, I mean, as far as his comment goes, 100% right. Yep. And all these teams are coming off some pretty big wins. So all these teams look like they're heading in the right direction, and it could end up being a really interesting race down the stretch.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can't agree any more with Joshua than I already do. Yeah, if you're saying the Chiefs are in the driver's seat, the Bills are in the driver's seat, and you believe in them to make a deep run, you have to include the Baltimore Ravens in that conversation. It's really that simple.
Yeah.
And we might as well get to David's as well, if you want to throw that one up.
Yeah, old Dave Nance was at the game. Another clutch win. I got a feeling there's no stopping this train. Love the glow bands, by the way. Was that like a giveaway, I guess, at the game?
Yeah, I saw that they were doing that tonight at the game to kind of light it up there. That's awesome. The Ravens do a great job, especially in these nationally televised games, to make it an entire experience for the fans. But yeah, man, I'm starting to feel that way as well. I'm maybe not quite as bullish as you are. I believe that Lamar Jackson will go on an absolute run, but it's all about, to me, the consistency on offense, or excuse me, on defense. Mm-hmm. And then Lamar just staying healthy, staying poised, and getting it done. But all right, Awesome. We appreciate the super chats. And of course, as always, throw them in there to get a guaranteed response. But let's continue on with our competition, in which I did not do so well.
No, Joshua Hunter, by the way, says coaches are earning their paychecks. I have no complaints. So shout out to Josh for
hey, that's a man that's willing to watch and changes. Look, your opinion changes as facts do, right? Your answers change as facts change or whatever. Anyway, whatever the saying is, it's really late at night, but you understand my point.
Yeah.
Nice one, Josh. Good on you.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's get back into our over-unders.
Let's do it.
The defensive ones started with the Browns rushing yards, and DK said it at 154.5. I hate to say this, fellas, but you guys both said they'd go over that, and they didn't come within 100 yards of that. And so I correctly predicted that they would, in fact, go under. So I just wanted to point that out to you guys.
Hey, when no one's patting you on the back, sometimes you got to do it yourself.
I've never been one to miss a pat on my own back. I hit it every time. But yeah, so I was the only one to correctly predict that one. Moving on to the next one, the Browns quarterback passing long, 45.5 yards. This one, we all thought this was a relatively easy one, at least I did, but it ended up becoming very, very close. He got it to 41 yards, so just came a few yards shy, but we did ultimately get it correct.
Thanks again to Baker for helping me out. This is the only one I got right.
Well, Jimmy, I mean, some people got it and some people don't.
Yeah, how'd you do this week, Glenn?
All right, so after the over-unders, me and DK are tied at 2 out of 4 with Jimmy holding up the rear. Just one correct prediction. So then we had to get into our tiebreakers. And, of course, one of our tiebreakers holds a little more weight than the other. And, boy, is DK lucky for that, because if the other was the one, then you're looking at a 3-in-a-row champion. But the total score holds the first tiebreaker, and DK did, in fact, predict the lowest score. Correctly predicting, although none of us were very good here. DK did say it would be 21-20 for a total of 41, so he was by far the lowest. And for that reason, DK is this week's 410 Sports Talk show staff winner. So congratulations, DK.
Back on top, dude.
I'm coming for you next week, so don't get
comfortable. Hey, look, Ricky Bobby's daddy said it best, right? If you ain't first, you're last, right?
Well, you were in last then, Jimmy.
Well, you're right there with me. If you weren't first,
like you somehow won with DK.
That's all I'm saying. If you weren't
you're
first,
you're
last.
You're not sitting in the sidecar of his motorcycle and you're winning the race with him. No.
I'm in last, but you got to come join me because misery loves company because you didn't win.
Look, all I know is it's like what I say. My wife borrows my car. I say, if you're going to move the chair, put it back. And DK, all I'll say is if you adjust anything in that winner's throne, put it back. Put it back because I'm coming back. I'm coming back for that.
Isn't DK the rightful actual champion?
No, I am.
How is this working?
No, I am the rightful champion. Set the mirrors. Hey, don't move the rear view mirror. Keep it to where I like it, DK, because I'm going to be back in that chair next week.
Oh gosh.
But anyway, let's get into the. Let's go get into the who won the here? As the show. I mean, did we get a result? Hold on.
Hey, look at DK.
Hold on, I thought I had 3 wins.
Wait. What happened, DK? There you go.
Hold on. First of all, my picture, I'm not a fan of. First of all. Second of all, what is this accuracy? I don't understand. You did Matt. Well, hold on. See, you know what this is, guys? This is called, these guys were really tired of seeing me in the winner's circle.
Wait, I had nothing to do with this. This was all DK, dude. All DK.
And the music.
Hey, look, you mess with DK, you get the horns, bro.
The music is so bad, and then it's good. That's what I love about it. It keeps getting louder. That's what
I love it. Oh, this is awesome.
That's okay. You know what? You guys.
I just like the fact that this is still up here. I just like you looking at it. That makes me happy.
I don't like my picture either, man. Look at my neck. Holy smokes. All right. Okay, DK. I mean, all right.
Yeah, the AV Ninja strikes again. I love it. Wait, but we also have to announce our our winner of a T-shirt, correct?
Yes, our fan winner of
but not
the
yet.
week.
We need to bask in this a little more, right? The graphic that was great. It should
Yeah,
be
I
a
guess
weekly
so.
thing, right?
If you say so. I mean, I wasn't the biggest fan of it. I like it a little better next week when I start climbing the ranks here, because I have full confidence that I will.
All right. Well, let me announce our winner real quick. Our winner came to us via YouTube in a comment that he or she left. Actually, I'm not sure. Winner of the weekly competition is the username is titled MDNTX. Came to us on YouTube. So whoever you are, find us on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook and DM us your name and address and shirt size so we can get you a shirt, a 410 Sports Talk shirt, sent to you right in the mail, hopefully in time for the holiday. But make sure you check it out. I just want to also shout MD in TX, MD in Maryland and Texas, because went 4 for 4. Straight sweep on the board. DK, only one that went 4 for 4, correct? Only one. And we got a lot. I mean, honestly, every week we get more and more and more contestants. Yes. Going 4 for 4 is not an easy and a common thing to do.
No.
Shout out.
No, it's not something we see very often ever. So, yeah, shout out to Maryland and Texas, this week's show winner. Sean Pisker says, how do I get on the fan competitions? Every week we do a preview show. At the end of the preview show, we announce the over-unders and closest to the pin challenges. You simply DM us. You comment at the bottom of our video after the live stream ends, or any of the social platforms. You can DM us and just give us your predictions, and we'll, of course, review all the submissions and then announce the winner in our live post-game show.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other thoughts before we wrap this bad boy up? You know what, Glenn? I have some thoughts, actually.
Okay, go ahead.
We got to talk. I talked about it earlier. I made a cool 50-some-odd bucks tonight based on game earnings. The Baltimore Ravens won. Made some shekels there. Look, our portfolio is doing all right because the Baltimore Ravens won today. The Cowboys won. The Cowboys lost on Thursday. But that doesn't matter because the Raiders won, and we got the Raiders too. Yep. And the Bengals got a win today in the division over the Steelers. So we made some money this week. If you guys want to make some actual money in sports and using your sports knowledge, like Glenn has said before, invest it in what you know best. And if that's sports, go to symbol.app/410 to get an additional $10 added to your initial deposit. It is the stock market for sports, ladies and gentlemen. It's the only place where you can hold on to a projection that only you see, or a trend that you see, and get paid for it.
Yep.
And so check it out. Get a $10 on us. Make sure to go check out Symbol. We talked about it before. Our portfolio is doing all right, Glenn.
Yeah, I'm not mad about it at all. Absolutely.
Yeah, no,
Why
for
is
sure.
My dog barking this late at night?
That is Baker Mayfield showing up.
Certainly, it's probably the fox. We have a neighborhood fox that likes to run in my front yard. And
so Baker.
A fox? Now, fox are pretty fleet of foot, and I saw Baker out there.
Definitely not Baker, right?
No, yeah. I mean, look, when Baker was being chased, he just dropped the ball and gave it to the other team, which, by the way, shout out to Baker for that. That was embarrassing. Certainly not his proudest moment. Bit of a butt fumble almost like that. Edwin said he got some spaghetti sauce on his shirt that we gave him. That's, that's a bummer. I mean, the spaghetti sauce is not easy to get out. I would suggest take it to a professional. Get it out to the cleaners, and maybe they can get it fixed. Because you gotta keep repping the shirt. But I want to give some shout outs around, unless there's something else you wanted to touch on. I think we pretty much covered everything. So Prince Quan, appreciate you coming out. Always out here in the comments and keeping the show going. Davon Johnson, howling at the fox. I tell you, them foxes, when they like make noise, it sounds like a child screaming. It's horrifying sounding. It's disturbing. The first time I heard it, I thought there was like a kid in trouble, and I thought I was gonna be like a hero, and it was a whole thing. Turned out it was a fox. I thought I was gonna make the news, but anyway. Appreciate Don C hyping the like button as always. The real Big Willie. Appreciate you commenting and participating. Dave Cutsale, thanks again. Shout out to to your girlfriend for winning the shirt. By the way, Jimmy, have you confirmed, or do you know yet if the pink is an option?
We're gonna leave it as a surprise, and I'm doing my very best.
Okay. All right. So it'll be a surprise from here on out. Troy, appreciate you. Troy, I might have to get a pick of me in that bucket hat out here someday because it's a classic from training camp. But everyone else who commented, thank you so much. I think we're a little tired, a little emotionally exhausted, but we will be back tomorrow night for some more shows. So stay tuned, hit the like button, give us a subscribe, hit the notification bell, and we will keep you up to date on all your Ravens news. And have a good night.
See ya.